Tim Gurner, founder and CEO of Gurner Group.
Which should mean nothing to you because it meant nothing to me.
I mean, well, Gurner Group is half of what you say when you choke on a piece of chicken. Gurner! Gurner Group!
You're all about the onomatopoeias, which, by the way, onomatopoeia is not an onomatopoeia for anything, which is weird.
That's not true. One time I stubbed my toe and I went, onomatopoeia!
But that's not the word for stubbing your toe, is my point. English is stupid.
Okay, so you don't need to know what Gurner Group is. All you need to know is rich fuck. Okay, so here is a rich fuck. Let's hear what he has to say.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid a lot to do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50%, in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment to get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the employment market, and that has to continue because that will cascade across the cost balance.
I am almost convinced this is a new member of the Yes Men. Because it just almost seems like a prank, like where, for those of you who don't know, the Yes Men would trick these companies and various groups to get invited to conferences like this, and then they'd go up there and they wouldn't just say fuck you all. They'd give some kind of speech that was so outlandish, but it would take the group or the commerce department or whoever a good several minutes before they were like, I think this might be too much. And so they would, like, it would be an example. They'd go up there and be like, so what we need to see is workers need to be struggling more. They need to be hurting. They need to hate life a little more. And, the audience would be like, yeah, wait, do we normally say that out loud?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, it's also a case of saying the quiet part loud, because he's not wrong. Like, governments are trying to ensure that workers are hurting more, so that they want to strike the balance between, like, okay, how can we make sure that people go to work and don't complain, and we get most of the profits, but also it doesn't go too far so that they strike. So it's like, he's not wrong. He's saying the quiet part loud, but just the idea that this rich fucking douche canoe is sitting up there talking about how people need to be in pain, when I bet this motherfucker has barely ever worked a day in his life.
Oh, he's worked, but it's just been sitting at a desk asking how much money's coming in. Right. So it's not.
Is that work? Because
even if you were to say, like, these fucking awful human beings like him or Bezos or whatever the fuck, even if you were to say they work a lot, it's like, okay, fine, they work a lot, but do they? It's to kill the world, but beyond that, do they work 100,000 times more than their workers? Do they work even 1,000 times more than their workers? Fucking no. So that's a big part of it. But he's absolutely right. He is speaking the truth that governments around the world are actively trying to harm economies to get people fired, to put the power back in the hands of the ruling elite, the ruling corporatists. And that is why the Federal Reserve is actively trying to create a deeper recession right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I have been seeing that this video has been making the rounds online. And I think, so first of all, if you have a sick sense of humor like we do, you enjoy it. But I also think it's important, kind of like when people leaked that video of Biden saying to a room full of bankers, nothing will fundamentally change.
Yeah.
It's like, it's important for people to see this, not just, you know, the choir, like the preaching to the choir, the folks who already know it, but to people who don't, right? So that they're clear on the fact that, yeah, this is what they actually think. This is what your employers think. Don't think that the employer class, the upper, you know, the upper echelons give a shit about you. It doesn't matter how many lovely little you know, inspirational quotes with fucking sunsets that the Walmart manager puts up on the wall. They don't fucking care about you. And it's important to know that, because we have to know who, like, how we can that we need to work together and to go across all the shit that they try to divide us along, race lines, gender backgrounds, whatever. That these are the fucking enemies. This guy right there, not your neighbor because they have a different sports team flag, or they go to a different church or whatever the fuck. Like, this is the penis wrinkle that you should really go after.